This class, we're going to be looking at the analytical writing. Yeah, the analytical writing is one of the tasks in your GRE exam. So in the GRE, you have about 3 tasks, and one of them is analytical writing. Before September last year, there used to be 2 tasks for the analytical writing. But as it stands today, it's just 1 task, which is analysis of an issue. So in the analytical writing of the GRE measure, you are going to be writing an essay. And that essay is called analysis of an issue. So issue means a case will be presented, an argument will be presented to you, and then you will be asked to write based on your opinion. So one of the key things you need to understand in the analytical writing is that you have a say. Do you understand that? You have a say, you have an opinion. So you have the privilege to say, I agree, or to say, I disagree. Or you may also be asked, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So in such a case, you can say, I agree entirely, I disagree entirely, I agree to a reasonable extent, I disagree to a reasonable extent. Do you understand so far? So that is it. So you just need to understand that. And just like the saying goes, everyone is entitled to his opinion. So GRE raters are not going to fail you for saying I agree or for saying I disagree. But your score is going to be based on your ability to validate your stand. So if you say you agree, you are going to give us substantial reason why you agree. Do you understand that? If you say you disagree, you're going to tell us why you disagree. And that is the essay itself. So it is an essay that the GRE expects you to write as professional as possible. You remember the full meaning of GRE is graduate record exams. Do you understand? So it is an exam that is structured for graduate. That means you have attained some level of educational, you've passed through the 4 walls of tertiary institution. So you are not an O-level holder. You are a graduate looking for how to up the grade of your result. Do you get that now? So you must put that into consideration while you write. And then you need to understand that it is an analytical writing. The word analytical is from the word to analyze. So you ask yourself, what does it mean to analyze? To analyze means what? To break down. To look at something from different perspectives, from different angles. Do you understand? So in the analysis of issue, that is actually what we are looking at. So you are not just going to look at the issue from the surface, the issue, because a case will be presented to you, a scenario, do you understand? An example, an illustration. For example, some people believe that there is nothing the younger ones can learn from the elder ones. All right? Do you agree or disagree? That's a scenario. So you can say, oh, I agree because there are quite a lot. Okay, I agree because there's nothing the younger ones can learn from the elder. You say, no, I disagree because there are quite a lot the younger ones can learn from the older ones. Do you understand? So it's just a case. You need to now look at it. But the point is that it is an analytical writing. It means that you need to look at the issue from different perspectives. Don't just limit it to yourself. Look at it from world view, from different directions. Then you write. Now, there are a few points you need to take note of as you write. I've already mentioned that. Number 1, you are going to break down the argument. Number 2, as you write your essay, you must pay attention to proper spellings. Though a level of oversight is allowed in the writing, but however, you must ensure you spell correctly. So thank God it is computer-based. So if you type a word and you are not so sure of it, you can delete it and use a word that you are so sure of. Do you understand? So once you are in doubt, this spelling is like, leave it, use another one. So proper spellings are important for your writing. The next one is proper punctuations. Proper punctuations. Something like period. Understand? Something like comma. Something like colon or semicolon and all of that. Now, in English language, there are 3 of these punctuation marks that can actually end a sentence. So there are about 3 of them. Number 1, period. Number 2, question mark. Number 3, exclamation mark. In fact, I think there are 4, because colon doesn't really end a sentence, but it falls into what I'm about to explain. Now, period ends a sentence. That is full stop, which is common to all of us, right? Then question mark ends a sentence if that sentence is ending in form of a question. And then exclamation mark. What it means is that anytime I see a full stop, the next character must begin with what? Capital letter. And then if it's a question mark, the next letter should also begin with what? Capital letter. If it is exclamation mark. That also means don't try to do like this. Well, some people have said somebody like this before. After the question mark, he wants to use full stop to end it. No, a question mark ends that sentence. So you can leave it like that. But after that, you ensure that the next character is capital letter. The next thing I'd like you to pay attention to is correct use of punctuations. Proper use, relevant use of punctuation marks. A comma means a pause. Like you are trying to communicate an information, but that information, you need to have a break before completing it. That's a comma. A full stop means you are done with that particular piece of idea, your information you are trying to pass. All right. Question mark means you are asking a question. All right. And there's a way a question should be asked. Something like, will you be in class tomorrow? Will you be in class tomorrow? Do you get that? So when you are asking a question, it ends with a question mark. Exclamation ends with exclamation mark and all of that. But there are a few of them I want to draw your attention to because it's not something that people use every now and then. The first one is semicolon, and the second one is colon, full colon. All right. Both of them, you can use them interchangeably. All right. But what they do actually is that they explain what comes before them. That is, the information after them is trying to give you additional information or trying to explain what came before the semicolon or the colon. All right. But the only difference is that anytime you use semicolon, the first character should be small letter. But if you use full colon, the first character should be capital letter. Do you guys understand the difference? Now, the meal was so tasty. Why do I say the meal was so tasty? Because it was hot and fresh. Do you understand? So this it was hot and fresh is explaining this in both sentences. But the difference is that if I use full colon, my first character is going to be capital letter. If I use semicolon, my first character is going to be small letter. Do we understand that? Let's look at, aside colon and semicolon, let's look at the use of quotation marks. That's double quote and single quote. You use double quote to repeat exactly what somebody said. Like in this case now, it was Bill Gates that said, any business that is not on the internet will soon be out of business. So this is a quote. This is the exact words of Bill Gates. Do you understand? So I put it in a quote because I'm quoting him. However, you use single quote to emphasize a point while you are writing, to emphasize an idea, to emphasize a word or a phrase. However, you use single quote to emphasize a word, which is your word or a phrase while you are writing. That is something you want the reader or the examiner to pay attention to while reading that sentence. So you can use your single quote. So for example, you will not be allowed in if you are 5 minutes late. The 5 minutes late, I use single quote to surround it so that anybody reading this sentence should pay attention to 5 minutes. So once you are 5 minutes late, according to this sentence, you will not be allowed in. So I want the person to pay attention to 5 minutes. So it's my word. Nobody said it. I'm the one saying it. So I use that single quote. Do you understand that? Now, you use apostrophe to denote belonging. it's Peter's, let's say Peter's pen. So it means that the pen belongs to Peter. Now, however, if I have a word in form of plural form or a word that is ending with an S, I don't need to add another S in front. So Moses' pen, the pen belongs to Moses. Do we understand that? So you must ensure proper use of your punctuations, even hyphen, which is to join two words that normally shouldn't stand on their own. Okay, so you use hyphen to join two words together, especially if you understand roots or root words. You can be able to combine words together. All right, so this is hyphen. So beautiful. So the next thing you need to pay attention to is proper paragraphing. In writing, generally, in your analytical writing, you must ensure proper paragraphing. In fact, the structure of your essay has its own mark. That is the organization. All right? Do you get that? So the structure of your essay has its own mark. So if you are not able to follow a proper structure, proper paragraphing is going to affect your score. Now, for example, there are two ways you can paragraph. The first thing you need to actually understand is that in writing, a paragraph should contain an idea. For example, if I am supporting a motion and I want to use 2 points to support that motion, that means I'm going to have 2 paragraphs, because the first point will be in a paragraph, the second point will be in a paragraph. Do you understand? I'll state the point, explain it, and all of that in one paragraph. So a paragraph should contain one idea. All right. Now, the next thing is you can use spacing for your paragraphing. For example, this represents a body of text. This represents another body of text. So this is one paragraph. This is another paragraph. All right. So we use space to separate them. It is allowed. You can also use what they call indentation. Indentation means you will give gap before you start writing. Then the other ones will start from the beginning. I think we are used to this. This is a traditional way. So anytime you want to give a new paragraph, you give an indentation. Do you understand? Now, you can use this method for paragraphing. You can use this method, but you cannot combine both of them. Like, I cannot write this now at the beginning and then somewhere and I use this to finish it. So if I'm going to use this, I should adapt. I should take it and follow it. If I'm going to use this, I should follow this. Do you understand? Now, for following this structure properly, it has its own mark. Do you get that? So that is proper paragraphing. The next thing is relevant use of words, or what you call vocabulary. GRE wants you to use words that relate to the topic of discourse. If you are talking about something that has to do with farming, how many words that relate to farming are you able to use in your writing? Do you understand? You are talking about health. You are talking about ICT or technology. How many of these words, all right, that relate to the topic of discourse that you are able to talk about? We are going to take a sample topic. During that session, I'll show you how to break it down. Because when you read a question or a scenario, the first thing you need to quickly do is to identify the topic. Like, what is this talking about? Is it about technology? Is it about economy? Do you understand? Once you identify that subject, that topic, then you ensure in your writing, you play around with words that relate to it. You get that now? And then perfect grammar. GRE expect your writing to be as perfect as possible. All right? So in terms of grammar, that's construction of your sentences. Ensure it's as perfect as possible. Then lastly, you will have 30 minutes actually for this, your essay. It's 30 minutes. Now, the word limit is not really so pronounced, but you should ensure you write around 300 words. All right. So 30 minutes to about 300 words. So this is just the general overview of the analytical writing, specifically analysis of an issue. All right. The analysis of the issue task, is the structure of the essay. That is the structure of the writing. Remember, I told you at the beginning that for proper structure and organization, there is a mark. You remember that? Yeah. Yes, I mentioned that earlier on. So there are three sections or compartments or divisions of the essay. The first one is the introduction. The second one is the body. And the third one is the conclusion. Now, so the essence of the introduction is to convince the examiner that you understand the question. So why I am doing the introduction of my essay, my objective is to make the examiner understand that, hey, I know what you've asked me to do. Because if you don't understand what you are asked to do, it's going to mess up the entire essay. Do you understand? It's like you ask somebody to go to Lagos and the person is going to Abuja. If he gets to Lagos, it's a waste of energy. Do you get that now? So that's the essence of the introduction. And for you to communicate that, there are a few elements that should be in your introduction. Remember or understand that your introduction is one paragraph. Do you understand? Your introduction is one paragraph. Don't split it into two or more paragraphs. All right. Now, the first thing you do in the introduction is to give a hook. The reason why it is called a hook is because it should be attention grabbing. It should sit your examiner on his or her chair. It should create this impression of, wow, I have to read this. Do you understand? The examiner should read your first sentence and feel like, I must read this. All right? It shouldn't sound somehow from the beginning. So it is a hook, and that should be a general statement about the topic of the question. Remember, I told you earlier on, I'm going to show you how to analyze a question. When you're analyzing a question, the first thing you do is to identify the topic. What is this question about? Do you get that now? Now, when you understand that, a general statement is going to be about that topic. If I read the question and the question is talking about teaching or education, that means my general statement is going to be about education. Do you understand? So that is the first sentence. Now, the second sentence or group of sentences will be paraphrasing the entire question. Paraphrasing means you restate the question based on your understanding. But you must make sure that your understanding is what the question is saying. So instead of just lifting the question and writing down your answer, you restate it. You just like, way back then when you are in school, when maybe they define something, then they will now give you an assignment and say, in your own words, define now. So tell us what is a noun based on your understanding. If you're able to do that, it means that you have a perfect understanding of the question. So the first thing you do is to give a general statement about the question. Do you understand that? We should be catching. That is why I said it's a hook. And then the second thing you do, which can be second sentence, is to paraphrase the question. Do you get that? Now, the third thing you do is called thesis. Your thesis is where you take a stand. That is where you tell the examiner, this is my stand. For example, if the instruction or the question is, do you agree or disagree? So your thesis is not going to tell the examiner whether you agree or not. So if you agree in your thesis, you are going to make it clear. I agree to blah, blah, blah. Or depending on where you are coming from or how you are coming with, that's the preceding sentences. Do you understand? You may use a preposition to connect it or a connecting words. But in thesis, you are simply saying, I agree to the subject matter. I agree to the argument, or I disagree, or I agree to a reasonable extent. Do we understand that? So that's thesis. So all of that is your introduction, which is one paragraph. All right. So the second paragraph is the first body paragraph. Now, the essence of the body is to provide overall sufficient explanation and information to your thesis. In the body, you are defending your thesis. Do you understand? Your thesis is, I agree. All right? I agree. Now, in the body, you are not going to be telling us why you agree. You are not going to defend why you agree. So in the body, you have supporting point. If you want to write the first paragraph of your body, you follow these four items. The first thing is declare your first supporting point. It should be declarative. It should be a clear sentence. The examiner should read it and say, oh, this is Onyeka's first supporting point. Why he agrees. It should be clear. In standard writing, they call it subject sentence. Do you understand? So what you are declaring here is your subject sentence. Somebody should read it and have an understanding of what you want to talk about in that paragraph. So it is your first supporting point. The second thing you do is to explain it. Provide logical explanation to that your first supporting point. Always remember, it should be in relation to your thesis. So as you are explaining your point, you are connecting it to your stand. Do you get that now? You are connecting them. Everything is connecting together. And then while you are explaining, be careful not to dive into another point. Because what you are doing here, you are explaining the point you already made. Do you get that now? Then after the explanation, you give an example or illustration. If possible, you may not have an example to give in all the points. Maybe you are giving 2 to 3 points. 2 points are cool, but if you have up to 3 points, it's fine. So you may not give example in all the points. You may give example in just one of the points, and then in other points, if you can't remember, but if you remember, it's fine. Then the last thing you do is to wrap it up. This is what they call summary sentence. You summarize everything you have said in this paragraph. So in the first body paragraph, you declare your first supporting point, you explain it. Do you understand? And you should explain it very well. Then you give an example, and then you wrap up everything you have said. So you repeat this process for the second body paragraph, and if you have time, for the third body paragraph. Do we understand so far? Yes. So that's your introduction and body. Now we're going to look at the conclusion. The essence of the conclusion is to wrap up everything you have said. All right? And remember, or just take note that the conclusion is also one paragraph, and it's usually the shortest. Maybe between 3 to 5 sentences will be fine. So it's the shortest paragraph, and it is just one paragraph. Now, what is the essence of the conclusion? It's just to reemphasize what you have said. At times, if you are able to reemphasize everything you have said, is a clear indication that you know what you were talking about. All right? Just to say, hey, I know what I have been saying from the beginning. Because it's going to be very bad when you say something and you can't remember what you have said. All right. So to do that, the first thing you do is to acknowledge the fact that somebody might have a different view from everything you have said. So you acknowledge the possibility of a counter view. Do you understand? But however, you need to reemphasize that it does not stand. So you demolish that counter view and just reemphasize that what you have said, it is what is valid. It's like it's an argument. So you are trying to say, hey, I know this guy will come up and say this, but hey, this is much of it. Do you understand? So, and then you wrap up the entire essay. We are going to do war writing together so that all of these things we have been saying, you see it in a very practical, whatever. Now, the GRE have what they call pool of topics. Pool of topics. They are usually about 150, I think about 152, 150 different kinds of questions that are available on the GRE. That's ETS website. Do you understand? For GRE. Now, you are going to study with those topics because on your exam day, it is one of those topics you are going to see. So again, that is why you discover that that's why there is a kind of pressure on you from ETS to do well, because they have given you a kind of hint, so they are going to take one of those questions. So you try to practice with all of those topics. The beautiful thing is that don't say, hey, how can I practice with about 150 topics? There are some questions that are about the same topics. Maybe 1 to 7 questions can be about technology. So if you analyze one that has to do with technology, you move to the other one. You don't have to do all of the 5 or 7 that are on technology. Do you understand that? I'm going to send you the link after this class so you look at it and then you play around with the topics. Now, what I want to do for you very quickly is to take a topic and then we just analyze it together. I think that would be cool. Now, if you look at this question, you are going to analyze it and break it down. GRE, ETS will always give you a scratch paper during your exam for note taking. So when you read a question, you are given a question, you need to make some notes before you start writing. So you need to analyze that question, all right, before you start writing. So society should identify those children who have special talent and provide training for them at early age to develop their talent. All right. This is the instruction. The instruction is usually larger than this, but this is the major thing. Write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree. The first thing I need to take note here, I will call them vocabs. So you may write vocabs, whatever. Now, it means that you are going to identify some words that you need to look for their synonym, not really look for. As you take the word, any synonym that comes to mind, you write it down. So you are going to pick out some keywords from the question. The first is society, right? So I may just write society, other here, a people, maybe places, maybe region, etc. The next word I can see there is children. Under children, I may put infants, I may put teenagers, I may put young adults, etc. The next word I can see special. You write the words that come to your mind. Special, important, relevant, vital, key, fundamental, etc. I can see another word called talent. Talent is something that is innate. You may use born with. They are skill, but this time around, they are unrefined skills. So the next word I can see here is develop. Develop means to grow, to advance, to mature, etc. You discover that I have identified some keywords from the question and quickly write as many words as possible as I can remember regarding each and all of the words. I don't need to be thinking so much of what to write because it's going to affect my time. Remember, I have 30 minutes for 300. So this is the first thing you need to quickly bring out from the question. The next thing you need to bring out from this question is the topic. Society should identify those children who have special talent and provide training for them at early age to develop their talents. So this question is talking about talent. If you want to be specific, maybe talent in children. All right? So, but generally it's talking about talent. This is the topic of the question. You remember in the introduction, they are going to give a general statement about the topic. So the general statement I am going to give now is going to be about talent or talent in children. Do you understand? Now, I have identified that the topic is talent, that's the question, or specifically talent in children, but I'm paying attention to this. Now, I may give a general statement like this. There is no great saying that everyone is born with a unique talent, which, when well developed, will put such an individual on a lofty pedestal. That is a general statement about talent. Another person can come up with a general statement about that same talent in a different form. Do you understand? So this, my general statement, is the first sentence in my introduction. Your essay doesn't have heading, doesn't have title. All right. So you just begin your response with a general statement, and which is usually a function of the topic as shall be identified. Now, the next thing you need to do is to look at it and take a side. All right. Society should identify those children who have special talent and provide training for them at early age to develop their talent. So, write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree. All right. So, I may now take my thesis. I don't know what you tend to do. I may agree entirely. Agree entirely. That means I agree 100%. So the next thing I need to give is my supporting reason 1, why I agree, supporting reason 2, why I agree. So these are the last elements I need to bring out before I begin writing. This can actually be my first supporting point. All right. You know, the supporting point is the reason why your thesis is your thesis. Do you understand? So if you agree, the supporting point is the reason why you agree. So now, I just came up with this. No talent can profit anyone if not identified and developed. This is the statement. Do you understand? So this is my first supporting point. So I am saying the reason why I agree to that motion is because if you don't identify the talent and develop it, it will not profit anybody. So I'm now going to explain that when I start my essay. Do you get that now? So this is number 1. Then you get number 2. Number 2 supporting points are usually okay. You may not have time to do 3. So 2 supporting points are okay. Then when you are done with this analysis, remember at the beginning of the analysis, you read the question and bring out some keywords and then write some synonyms that you can remember instantly about those words. All right. And then the second thing is you read the question and understand the topic, because the topic is going to give birth to your general statement. You remember that? Then after the general statement, then you take your thesis. Your thesis is, you agree? Yes, I agree. Or no, I don't agree. Then after that, you give supporting points that support your thesis, and your essay is going to be on that. Do we understand that? All right.